against a larger opponent, somebody who's stronger, whatever, I think most times try to outmaneuver them, really. It's basically a game of here's your attributes and they exceed me in these things, but where do I exceed their attributes and let me try to maximize that.
There it goes.
And we're live. Yeah.
Live.
Gotta do the hand.
Yes.
And there we go. So we're live. We're live today with a special guest.
We're live. We're here. We're not live.
Actually, it's true. We are live in this moment.
We're live in the moment.
We're live in the moment.
Though?
But yeah, so I guess I should say we're recording.
Recording
is what we're doing.
We're in the studio.
So we're here with Hunter.
Hello.
There we go.
Hunter Boe.
Yeah, Hunter Boe.
Hunter,
Thanks.
do you have a middle name?
I do, yeah. Anthony.
Hunter? Do you go by Tony as your middle name? Or
No,
Anthony.
No,
Anthony.
is Anthony your
Hunter?
dad's name?
Yes.
Oh, your initials are Hab. That's
Hab?
cool.
Yeah, I guess they are.
That's cool. You can spell something.
That's
Mine's
true.
all consonants. I got nothing.
Yeah.
Mine's Midjib. Matthew Joel Bartman.
Mine's Elvis.
Really?
Levi
Levi, Elvis, Ben
Elvis.
Stappen. So you're Lev.
Lev.
You're
Yeah.
Lev.
Well, my middle name's Monk. So
Middle name's Monk.
yeah,
Okay.
Monk.
Monk. Oh, yeah. I
Is
forgot
it
about that.
actually?
It's actually Monk. M-U-N-K.
Oh,
It's like a Danish thing.
Oh, okay.
So my whole name means the unbreakable monk that lives by the river.
Okay, so that's the Jiu-Jitsu monk thing, right? Like, isn't that?
Oh yeah,
isn't
the
it-
Jiu-Jitsu monk. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's because that's my middle name.
Yeah, okay. That makes
So
sense.
it works out
Your-
pretty
your
well.
parents had big aspirations for you, Lisa.
Yeah.
You haven't
Settle
fulfilled
down.
any of those.
I lived by the river when I was young. It worked.
That's awesome.
Interesting.
And
So-
I broke my leg multiple times, so I'm not unbreakable.
Fixable.
Fixable.
The fixable monk that doesn't live by the river. And he's not a monk.
Yes.
Hunter.
Yes.
I was actually thinking, I was trying to think of some good banter for us. Before we give your intro here, I thought I would share a funny story about you.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I should prep for that. I'm sure I got some funny stories about.
This is actually funny because as I was thinking about it, I'm like, Hunter, you are, first off, a compliment. You're usually so focused on being so present in a conversation and you don't really talk about yourself very much. So
Oh.
I learned something about you almost every time we talk because, or like I have to like peel it out of you, I should say.
Sure.
And every now and then you'll drop nuggets and I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I
Yeah.
think that's a really good example of your lack of your own ego.
Oh,
which
I
is pretty
appreciate
cool.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the funny story is, as we were closing up the studio one day, it was the three of us. We just got done training this little while ago. And you just stopped at a moment where like, guys, Gladiator is a cool movie, right?
Right.
Yeah, and Levi and I were both like, yeah, dude,
Totally
it's
forgot
like
about that.
one of the coolest movies ever. And you're like, okay, I just wanted to double check because
was like-
then you went in to say
You
you
were
were watching
arguing?
it with someone
Yeah.
and the other person was like,
Yeah, I think essentially it's like every guy pretty much agrees that movie is awesome, but then I found out that if you watch it with your girlfriend or whatever, that they might not have the same enthusiasm about it. And
Yeah.
I found that out, and so that's why I was like, wait, is this a thing? Like, is this really just like for the bros, basically? Like, only the guys are gonna this? But I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that's all the way true across the board, but yeah, it was
Watching
funny.
300.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I just laughed because you were like, you had this conflicted moment where you're
Yeah.
like, this is a cool movie. Guys, like,
Am I?
you're like, but yeah, your like girlfriend or the lady you're with at
Yeah.
the time was watching it. And
Yes.
you were just like, she's not digging it. This
Yeah.
must not. Maybe that is it.
I was
My
just-
whole reality wrong. You know?
Exactly. I was like, wait a minute. I thought this was like universally agreed upon. It's like an awesome movie. So
The arena scene was so cool when
Oh,
he's like getting the
yeah.
army together and they're all
Oh,
like
yeah.
disjointed and he gets them all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That movie's
good.
so good in so,
So
many
good.
ways.
Yes.
So good. The cinematography is fantastic.
Uh-huh.
The story,
Ridley Scott.
Russell Crowe
Yeah.
rocks it in that
Oh, so
role.
good.
That's pretty much his pinnacle.
I think so.
You know, his
I agree with
I do
that.
not entertain.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
yes, agreed.
So, anyways, I just love
That
that
is
story because
funny.
we were like, it just there was like no sure moment that I've ever been asked a question, and I was like, Hunter, absolutely.
It was.
Is the
it was
sky
nice.
up? Is the earth down? Yes, Gladiator is an amazing movie.
Yes, it was nice to have that reassurance immediately. Everybody's like, yeah.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah, it was like it was pretty funny. Is ice cream good?
Yeah.
dude, ice cream is pretty
Essentially,
good,
yeah.
You know?
That's essentially it.
But I
question
know
is,
what you're talking about though, because I tried showing my wife Braveheart, and she's usually
Oh.
very good at sitting through movies, and she's
Sure.
actually usually the one to bring me cool movies,
Yep.
Mhm.
and I'm more of the curmudgeon about it. And I was just like, we gotta watch this. This is like one of the greatest movies ever made. And she like within 5 minutes, she's just like, I am not into this love,
See?
and
Yeah.
it's so rare. That is
Yeah.
like a rare moment. And so there's been so many moments where I'm like, gotta watch Braveheart.
Right.
We gotta do.
Right.
Wow.
But it's a commitment, and that one too. Like you gotta be focused. You can't have the kids running around.
It's a long movie.
Yeah,
Braveheart.
yeah.
It's a
It was
longer
2
movie.
VHSs when I was younger.
Jesus.
Wow.
2 VHSs, which is crazy. 3, maybe if you had the special edition, all the
funny.
behind the scenes stuff.
Right.
Those were good ones.
Yeah. So, anyways, any guys listening to this? Yes, Gladiator's good.
Gladiator's
Yes,
always good.
Braveheart's good. I don't know if there's any other ones we want to
It's
throw
a
in there.
300.
300. Yep.
They're
Yeah.
300's good.
300's probably in that list
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, for sure. I remember watching the trailers when it
those
came
days,
out, and I
yeah.
remember being so pumped
Yeah.
about that movie, being like,
Yeah.
"This looks awesome," because it was like grittier and just like really cool.
They said that scene where he says, "This is Sparta," and Cakes says completely improv on
Yeah.
his point. He said he completely surprised the whole crew there, that he just yelled it and just kicked it.
That was
Kicked it.
improv.
That was improv, yeah.
Yeah.
See,
He
it
was
seems like that
supposed to kick
happens.
it.
Yeah.
Seems
He was
like that happens
supposed to
a
But
lot.
kick.
it's just like the
the
improv of just
yelling.
like, instead of just no. Like, it's
Oh,
like,
I
"Duh."
think
gotcha.
was it Zack Snyder who directed that?
Yeah.
Yes. I think he told Gerald Butler to be like, "You should yell this one."
Oh, really? Is
I
that
think
what it
I
was?
thought that's the story.
Well, maybe that was the idea.
or
that was
just something
like completely-
crazy.
Yeah.
And then everybody was laughing
Mhm.
because he was yelling, "This is Sparta," and everybody was trying to keep it together.
The
Is what
most
I heard.
classic line.
And it
ever.
ended up
Right.
being such a big thing,
Right.
Versus being like, "This is Sparta," bam, kicking
Right.
them into the well.
You guys remember those spoof movies though?
Oh, like, yeah. there was,
We
like,
Are the Spartans
dancing
or
ones.
whatever.
Something,
you
yeah,
know?
they ruined it. Because like now I cannot unsee that. Like
Those
all
are
the
so good.
jokes where they're like are sprayed on abs and like whatever else, and they just totally mocked that movie so bad that
I've never confirmed it, but at the apartments where I used to live, someone was saying someone that was one of the Spartans in the movie was living in the complex.
No way.
Yeah.
really.
Saying, but I've never seen some big shirtless guy walk
Yeah.
walk out of the
Right,
apartment.
right.
You're saying one of the original Spartans from 300?
No, one
Or
of
from
the
mock ones?
movies from the movies, like from that movie 300.
From
Like,
300.
one of the actors that played a Spartan was.
Okay, I didn't know if it was
in the
the
apartment.
the fake Spartan
Oh,
that Fish
right.
talking
no.
about right now.
I was
Right.
like, oh, that's interesting.
Huh.
I heard they had a heck of a workout though.
I remember doing a lot of research on that.
Yeah, that was like insane overload on their end. Just
They did
the
a lot of like
transformation.
CrossFitty stuff.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it
That's
was
right.
a lot
I
of
remember
cross, a lot of
seeing that.
metcons.
Yeah.
And then they had like test workout they did in the beginning and the end to see how much better they got. And I remember, funny enough, the dude who leads the army that isn't the Spartans, the one who's like
The one
people-
eye? No.
No, the one who wears like that weird like leather thing. He's pretty jacked. He apparently had the high score. Like he
Matthew
was actually
Fassbender?
most fit as by their test that they did. He did the best.
The line in the movie?
The guy who he's like the one who runs this other group.
The one that he was telling the story in the beginning?
No,
With the eye
he's not a
patch?
Spartan.
It's like the Persians. Like
No,
or-
not the Persians. It was that
Oh.
other group that comes to help them. And then
Oh.
they were like, "Hey, I
Oh,
thought Spartan's army would rival our
yeah.
own. It's,
Okay.
You brought more artisans, but I brought more warriors."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
that back and
Huh?
forth.
Yeah.
Daxos, is that his
Yeah.
name? Hold on.
That was a great reference.
I feel like I
got
gotta look this up. I gotta look this. Hold on. What's the name? You guys keep going. Keep
Okay.
going.
Jill always makes fun of me that I remember an intense amount of movie lines. And she's like, how can you remember all that? One time, it was like actually 2 weeks ago, the Charlie Brown Halloween special was up. Yeah, that guy.
Daxos.
Uh,
Daxos.
Okay, so he was the
Brought
most
more
fit.
Spartans than
Yeah,
you.
Yeah.
in accordance by their test.
Sure.
Yes.
Funny.
Because you can say fitness is a lot. It's specific, actually, if you think about it from a nature perspective.
Oh, yeah. It's
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
fitness. Gorilla is very fit to survive in a gorilla habitat, but it would suck in the water.
Oh, yeah.
Fitness is specific.
Especially
That's
through
true.
a ball.
Through a ball in the water? What?
You're saying about the measuring of athleticism
Oh yeah.
based
yeah.
on throwing a ball
Yeah,
versus
that's
grappling.
silly. So silly. Hunter, did you play any other sports?
Yeah, I was. Let's see. I was into wrestling for a while, and then
Not because you have gross ears or anything. But
You know what?
because you have good wrestling.
I've been told I look like a wrestler before too, which I
Mm.
thought was interesting. I didn't think I had that.
Traps.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like some people, they think they
It's
can
true.
spot a
You know, I-
wrestler.
You know what's
so-
funny about
I
that?
get
You
that.
did wrestle though, so they
right.
are.
So I couldn't even
potentially-
argue it. I was like, okay,
Look at yourself.
yeah. I'm like,
Do you ever
You're
get
not
that, Levi?
wrong.
No.
Never. I actually hate that. Because I was in, was it Wisconsin Dells or something, where I was walking out of a grocery store
Okay.
and I saw this guy just randomly went past me, and I did a quick second look, and I was like, that's a jiu-jitsu guy, 100%. Like tattoos, ears,
Mm.
shortcut. That's all telltale sign.
looks
jiu-jitsu
looks
person.
injured.
Yeah,
Wa-
Yeah. Tape
hobbling
on his hands and
around.
toe-
Yeah.
you
It was
know,
mostly
his
because he was
Tape.
spud scooting out to the parking lot.
Yeah.
That's what was
Dead
happening.
giveaway right there.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, no, yeah, I did wrestling for a little while, and then I was in football, but football was a rough go for me. I enjoyed it, but I did Pop Warner and all that, and then played in middle school, but then didn't continue into high school for wrestling or football. But Football was rough just because as you got into the later years of it, it really did become like a size thing.
Sure.
And so I was typically one of the smaller guys.
Oh,
And
God.
I
Yeah.
had friends that I played with that would purposely pick me out to try to. So if you're doing like an Oklahoma drill or
I don't know. We don't know what that is.
It's
I like that
just-
Matt assumed I didn't know either, but he
Yeah,
was
just-
right.
neither
just
of us know what this is.
different drills, full contact drills you would do in
Okay.
practice, they would go out of their way
Oh.
to be against me because it was
Mm.
funny to them, whatever, and they would just try to hit me as hard as they possibly could and stuff.
That's a-
And yeah, it's part of the game. It is what it is. But yeah, it just got to a point where I was getting like, I don't know, I was onto my like 5th concussion or something.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
yeah,
I didn't
just-
realize that.
Now
Yeah.
something's a little weird.
It was just from getting lit up really bad because, like I said, it becomes a body mass thing where it's if you're a smaller
Oh,
guy.
for sure.
And some guys, it's weird. They're in 6th grade, and that dude is 250 pounds
He's
in
got a
6th
beard.
grade. Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
a beard. Like, you know what I mean? So there's always that weird, that puberty kind of
Yeah.
hits people differently too, for sure. It just got to a point where I was like, yeah, like football is just beating me up really bad.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I enjoyed it. But yeah, no. And then I was out of sports, of course, for a while, and then I don't know, found jiu-jitsu again, and just knew that I really enjoyed wrestling, and so I thought this is pretty dang close, and
When did
I
you-
think it's going to be better. And yeah, of course it was.
Well, I was to say this is a good segue for me because I've known Hunter since he was a little tyke,
Yeah.
which is crazy. It's a wee lad. So his sister and his brother-in-law both did martial arts
Mhm.
basically around the exact same time I was doing martial arts. So I started around 2003 and 2004, and his brother-in-law Dylan started basically the same week as I
Yeah.
did.
Because I started around the same exact time.
Yeah,
too.
it was weird.
Just at a different
But-
place.
Sure.
Completely different spot. He was there, and then Bailey came in sometime later, and yeah, she was loving, but she was like young too. She was like 9 or 10 or
Yeah.
something very young. So I would be like giving her private lessons, doing like bow staff stuff and all that stuff. And then Hunter would sometimes come along with your mom and dad, and you'd
Yeah.
watch Bailey or some stuff, but he was always like the quiet one in the corner,
Yeah,
kind
for
of
sure.
just hanging out. And I was like, oh, maybe someday he's gonna be doing karate too. But
I thought you would have thought it was interesting being that was a pretty big part of Bailey's life and for a long time, and then of course Dylan's and stuff. And
Yeah.
so you would have thought I would have followed that, but I don't know. For me, it just never. I don't know. It never interested me. I thought it was cool. I had respect for it. Like I enjoyed watching different aspects of it, but
Mhm.
it just never was something where I'm like, man, I really want to do that, whatever. And then once Dylan started doing the jiu-jitsu, I was like, I gotta try that. And then was, of course,
So you're
stuck.
saying so your sister and your brother-in-law both were running a martial arts school at
Right?
the time, right?
Yeah. So let's see.
Yeah. Fast forward to
Yeah.
the audience.
Let's try to give some.
But yeah, Bailey and Dylan
Yeah.
got married,
Yep.
grew up, not in that order, and had some kiddos,
Yep.
opened up a martial arts studio. Dylan started teaching jujitsu
Well,
at the time.
because here's the thing: both of you guys were at his place.
Yeah, that's how we met
Both-
each other.
both started,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Wait,
then,
did you both meet each other at
Yeah,
Dylan's?
at Conquer, yeah.
I didn't know
Yep.
that was a connection.
In
Okay.
fact, I think it was at the original school, like in Little Shoe, like the.
Was
That's where I
Wisconsin
started going, the
Yeah.
small one.
Okay.
I
yeah.
really liked that school, actually.
So
It
did
sounds
I.
funny. I actually,
that's where I
I
started
liked
too.
that one more
Yes.
than the newer studio was like nice. It was
Yep.
super nice. And
Yep.
the floor was amazing. It was a springboard floor with
Yep.
mats on top of it.
Yep.
They did an awesome job with it.
Yep.
But for some reason, I liked the smaller school. It was about this size of Theory
Yeah.
here. The Theory's got a little bit bigger mat, but
Yeah, I was in
Um,
that place for 15 years. That same
it's
studio.
a nice place.
Yeah.
It's got a good vibe.
Now they have a different martial arts school in there.
I know.
too.
I see that.
Yeah.
It's literally like 30 seconds from my house.
Yeah.
So they moved to a new location, and then was
Yeah.
Dylan talking with you about what he's doing?
Yeah.
So I think I just started, like we were saying at the original school, I started showing up, not super consistent. I was at
sure.
that point I was like I had to have been like 18, 19 or something, I think. And I was like half in, half out. And so I would make a class here, make a class there. And then I was
Sure.
like, I think I should really just take this more serious because I think this is something I could really enjoy and whatnot, and just good for overall health and fitness,
Sure.
whatnot. Yeah, then I started being more consistent with it. And then, like we were saying, they moved to a larger location and they started bringing in, because Dylan he's still purple belt. So his knowledge had its limits.
Sure.
Not that he wasn't qualified or a good teacher or anything. It just got to a point where it was time to bring in somebody else. So what they
Yeah.
started doing is then bringing in Justice Canales. And he is a black belt. I forget how many. I don't know if he's got like several stripes or what degree.
I
to
think
what-
he was like a straight up black belt. 'Cause he
Okay,
got it- 'cause
yeah.
He was a brown belt when I met him.
Okay, that would
and
make
then-
sense.
And that was at Justin's place.
Okay.
Down south.
Sure.
Oh, that was a. Yeah,
Was
And
that
it's just
yeah, I don't know how that whole process went though.
Third heaven.
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
Third Heaven
yep.
or something like that.
Jiu-Jitsu,
Yeah.
So anyways, Justice started coming in twice a week then to teach at the new school. Yeah, and then it was just like I said, it was nice because then we had like his expertise and could really, take the jiu-jitsu program to the next level. That's when I really, at that point, I was consistent, and yeah, I think I ended up getting promoted to blue under him,
Mhm.
and then yeah, it wasn't too long after that they end up selling the school, and so that's what led me to theory now. So
Yeah, because you and Dylan popped in here like my opening day kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yep, yeah. I think it was
Bailey was here with the kids, I think, and then or something like that. But then you and Dylan were rolling. So, but I'd seen Hunter not that long prior when you competed at the Metrics.
Oh sure,
event.
yep, that's right.
Yeah, so I was there. It was like a 16-man white and blue belt tournament.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
packed
it was
place.
fun.
He doesn't have too big of a place, but it was just still packed. And yeah, so then all of a sudden I'm looking around and I think that's Hunter. Like I haven't seen you in years.
Oh,
And all
yeah.
of a sudden you're sitting there and I
Oh.
saw Dylan there and I was just like, whoa.
Yeah,
okay, like,
Justice would have been there too.
yeah. So I saw him there and I was like eyeing Hunter a bit up, like seeing what his skills were, and he was scrappy and getting after it. And
That was a
yeah.
fun tournament because it ended up being no weight limit basically.
Oh yeah. So,
yeah,
so what,
It was like a kumite kind of thing.
you
or
just
like-
kept advancing. Like if you won, you just kept whoever else won. Like it got moved
So-
into the next
Oh,
pool basically.
that's
so,
cool.
So
yeah.
Aaron basically did like a point system still, but if there was a weight discrepancy, she gave points to the other person. Like you started 3 points above
Oh yeah, that's right.
if you were smaller.
Oh, that's a neat idea. So you have a bank of points.
Yeah.
Like to make up for that discrepancy, because if that person's
That's
that much
fair.
bigger and stronger,
Yeah, size makes a difference.
they should be able to advance things quickly. So
That's one of the
that was
biggest lies
interesting.
jiu-jitsu is told is that like
Yes.
yes, you can beat a bigger, stronger opponent if they know no jiu-jitsu and you know quite a bit.
That's so true. To an extent, it's like sometimes skills only get you so far. Take somebody who's, let's say you're even like you're purple and you take like a blue who's got 100 pounds on you. It's a tough night.
Oh yeah.
So
for
we'll make a
sure.
visual quick. So Hunter, weight category do you usually compete in?
3 to 145.
Okay,
just
so-
depending.
So that kind of defines Hunter's style a little bit. So he's used to competing on the lighter side or just training on the lighter side.
Right.
So Hunter has probably the most ridiculous guard retention I've ever encountered with jiu-jitsu. And I guess it aligns with your size discrepancy of most bigger people. So you frustrate a lot of bigger guys trying to pass your guard with just brute speed and strength and utilize your guard to work yourself up like a wrestle up situation.
You're like a cat. If you can fit your whiskers, you can fit your whole body kind of thing.
Do we need like an animal thing for every single one we
Yeah,
had?
we could.
Aaron was the buffalo.
I would say, yeah, Hunter, you're like, yeah, you can sneak anywhere. If like, it's almost if you imagine a movie and like someone's foot come in from the bottom of the frame. That's what
Yeah.
like.
yeah.
Where I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. There's a what is
Yeah.
going on? And then there's a
third
then Your
hand.
guard's back.
At one point, they referred to me as a spider monkey, so I don't
spider
know.
monkey.
But,
I can see that 100%.
but yeah,
But-
I think that's just kind of something that's developed out of necessity. You know, it's like you said, being a smaller guy most of the time. Yeah, like you have to focus on the things that you can do and where you can get an advantage, and sometimes that's just speed, really, on a larger, stronger opponent.
And I imagine you started off in the gi, correct?
Oh, yep.
It was all gi stuff? All
Yeah.
gi stuff with you two, Matt?
It was
you guys
like
split it a bit?
It was a little split. It was
Okay.
like mainly gi though, and then one day a week of no gi. The classic model.
Yeah, so I imagine that helped a little bit with the size as well. Did you play some open guards or use the jacket?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point because I guess I never really thought about that. But yeah, to some extent, I think that it would be an advantage to have the grips and kind of the handles. Also, it can work against you. You get a really strong guy that's cross collar choking you or whatever and using those against you. Like that's a rough night too.
I
So,
can see that.
but yeah, I don't know. Maybe a disadvantage though, just because it's slow. Typically, the game slows down. I find in the gi, right? And for me, I think that I thrive in probably a more dynamic. I want to be able to do weird,
That's true.
like flips out of spots and
Mhm.
roll here and
Good point.
and
You can slither better.
slither, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, be
Grease me
sneakier.
up.
Yeah, like I probably wouldn't get as many underhook out the back door stuff in the gi as I do with just no gi, just because of the clothing. Really,
Which is so funny because we've transitioned here at Theory Jiu-Jitsu to a NoGi studio, and then Hunter's the only one that on 2 occasions tried to bring in the gi. He's, you know what, guys? I'm gonna bring in my gi tonight.
Well, I paid $300 for the one.
Yeah,
like,
you have the fancy origin
the
one.
origin
I
one.
gotta wear it sometimes.
Yeah.
But like the one time you brought it in, you're like, okay, cool. Hunter's got a gi on, and literally halfway through, he just strips it right off.
Halfway is being generous.
Yeah.
I think I had it on for like maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah, I remember we rolled actually.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, I got handles, baby. This is great.
Yeah, and I was like,
Like,
wait a minute, this is not fun.
For listener context, he was the only one wearing a gi.
Yeah,
Everyone else was no
he's
gi.
the only one.
And no, Hunter, to your credit though, you were like, hey, let's try this out. Let's see what
Yeah.
happens. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. That's the power of jiu-jitsu. You can be like, let's try it out. There's no McDojo-ness about it in that regard, where it's if it works.
Yeah,
right?
I was just genuinely curious to see, okay, if I throw on this gi and allow others to completely use it to their advantage and whatever, what does this roll look like now?
Yeah.
What is the difference?
And you still had it too to attack and use Ezekiel's and things.
Yep, but man, it really just ended up being a disadvantage.
I know people always say training with a gi would help for self-defense situations.
If you're wearing a coat,
Yeah, a coat, but the thing is, I wouldn't rely on a coat to grab onto things or if it slips off. But I think if someone robbed me with an actual Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gi on, I'd probably use it again.
You gotta.
Like if they're like, I have to do this now.
Yes.
you
I'm
know,
sure-
I think the grips would be good self-defense wise, just to get used to being like and it doesn't need to be anything crazy. Where if you're wearing a snow coat or a winter jacket,
Sure.
and like you've played in the gi for a little while, you'll know like what grips. Instead of trying to grab the wrist, you end up grabbing like that rolled grip and things like
Right.
that. Punch it over.
I think it's like a Danaher
grab the
thing.
sleeve.
He had
like-
one of his standing volumes, one of his standing instructionals, like his last volume was self-defense, and they were both wearing hockey jerseys. But it was showing more all like if you were grabbing someone, it's gonna be basically pulled over their head. If you're grappling or whatever, like eventually it's gonna be like pulling a sleeve or whatever, it starts like slipping off basically and over the head. Isn't like the jacket
That's
that
good
like,
too.
like
I'll take
sits on
that.
you. Yeah, you just keep bringing it
Yeah.
over their head. It's
It's
like
the classic bully or
Yeah.
fight thing.
Yep.
so. Anyways, we trained with the gi, and then slowly but surely, then converted at the same rate as everybody else with the no.
Yeah, which was interesting too, because when we first because I started out in the gi, when we started to move to the no-gi,
Yeah.
I actually was like resistant. I was like, I don't know about this no-gi stuff. I don't really care for it. And I don't know if that was just because I was familiar with being in a gi and
Makes sense.
comfortable in it.
Yeah.
But to me, it didn't, I don't know, I wasn't immediately drawn to it or immediately, oh yeah, this no-gi, like this is way better, whatever. And then slowly but surely, now I'm to the point, of course, where it's, yeah, like I wouldn't have it any other way. And just from a lot of times my argument, or not argument, but like a major point for me about it is just the self-defense aspect of it. I feel like in no-gi, I'm learning how to control somebody's body
Mhm.
rather than control their clothes.
Right.
And so, I don't know, I find that to be an advantage. It's just how can you pin somebody and control or hold them without basically having to rely on some type of grip.
You have 100% certainty versus in a self-defense situation having 50% certainty
Exactly.
of something dynamic that you can hold on to.
Right.
Versus like Matt right now has got a long sleeve shirt. There'd be no way I'd be relying on grabbing his
Yeah,
shirt
that
to
ain't
hold
gonna
him.
work.
It'd be underhooks and whatever, but everyone's like, well, it gets cold sometimes. I'm like, well, it's Midwest. Like, you can probably, but it's like, why sit there and risk?
I just thought of something funny.
Whatever. But
You're about to get in a bar fight with somebody, and they like take their jacket off. And you
no,
go,
Whoa.
put that back on, buddy. It's cold out.
Exactly.
don't want you to catch a cold before you catch these hands.
Yeah.
You you hand the guy a gi jacket and then sit to your butt.
Yeah,
Like-
exactly.
That'd be
Do this-
awesome.
do this like a man right now.
Yeah.
My wife showed me a funny video. It was like a guy pretending to rear end another dude, and a guy got out of the car.
Oh,
and
I saw that
he was
one.
like, "Oh, it's a jiu-jitsu guy." Oh no! And then the jiu-jitsu guy gets on the ground. He's like scooting at him, and he's like
It's
moving
like
around.
Granbying side
Yeah,
to
I'm
side.
at me at a
bad.
moderate pace. Come on, come on. And then the guy in the car's, "Oh, that guy's actually pretty good." It was really funny. It
That's
was a good video.
amazing.
But I think your story with gi to no gi is something that happens so often
Oh
because
yeah.
I had a recent conversation with someone that had the exact same story or not
Yeah?
exact same fears and hesitancy
Interesting.
and say, well, maybe I'll bring the gi in once or twice. I'm like, I get it, but no one's going to be in here smashing you because you don't have a gi on.
You should
Like,
actually
right.
say yes to that because they'll like. I think it'll self-select,
Here's a
or if
problem.
they put it on, and then
I-
it'll be like,
I don't mind it, but the problem is that they were talking about saying maybe someone else can bring in the gi as well.
"Ah, gotcha."
And I was just like,
Maybe you have an
I
open
know,
style.
but it's one of those things where most people have it because they're afraid that when they go into open rolling that people are just going to go Mach 10 of them. And now because their tool set or their skills without the gi now, suddenly not with them immediately, that they feel like they're going to be a huge disadvantage and they're going to get smashed.
Yeah.
Versus just going, cool, let's go light. Let's
Yeah.
play right now.
This is a
It's like,
gentlemanly group.
yeah, we're not going to sit here and hurt anybody with it.
Right.
But I get it feels like a survival instinct.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have my gi right now. I'm going to get thrown and whipped. And
I felt
choked or
naked
whatever.
right off the bat.
100%.
That's basically the best way I could describe it. I just felt like, whoa, this is a totally different sport now, and I don't know anything. It's kind of what it felt like.
Now it feels like you're putting on an 1800s kimono.
Exactly.
Do some cosplay. Judith.
And then just
You ever want to put it on though, just so you can put your purple belt on?
I think I did one time, literally, really just for that, because
Yeah.
I was like, I got this purple belt now. Like, I got to tie this up once.
Maybe we'll do a gi day.
Okay.
Just to drive Levi nuts.
They can.
Hunter and I come in and do gi day.
Feel
just
free.
so we can wear our belts once.
right.
And then we're like,
Feel
okay.
free to roll me though afterwards
right.
too. I'm okay with that.
Well, it's funny too, because a lot of people, they display their belts in the case and they're
Yeah.
all worn and weathered, and it's like,
brand new.
my belts are going to be brand new now. Like,
That's true.
Well,
untouched.
I've seen some nogi schools that they would wear their belts rolling.
Really?
Shorts, rash guard, belt.
Okay.
Slips
I
off
don't want to
within
be. I don't want
5
to be
Yeah.
judgy.
minutes.
One of the best part though is not having to readjust my stuff.
Yeah.
I love that about NoGi,
Oh, yeah.
where I can just there's no stuff in the jacket in, there's no retying
Well,
the belt.
someone
And
else
for those
asked.
who like that's cool, but
Someone else asked me too. Do we have to wear our colored belt as a rash guard?
some places do
Some
that.
places do, where it's you're a blue belt, you gotta wear the blue.
I guess
blue
you
rash
do have a
guard.
white, blue, and a black one over there.
It was just common colors, but now I can't make it like completely. I can. It's just like when I do orders, like recently, like I have 15 order, and I said, anybody who wants unique colors, you just tell me, and I'll
Sure.
order it.
I guess eventually, if you had a purple and a brown over there, that'd still
It's
be
true.
cool.
People would have that too.
Because at some tournaments they want you to, right?
Oh, yeah.
Does
It's
grappling
weird.
industry do that?
No, they don't make it a requirement. They just say that whatever your experience, you can just sign up for whatever. I heard from a friend that their blue belt, our friend Justin. Justin goes to the advanced division in NoGi.
Good for him.
Is that
Good for him.
insane?
Because Justin,
You know
Justin, if you happen
right?
to be listening to this,
Big guy, bigger guy,
wrestled,
he looks like a bear in
He's
a very
really
good way.
nice.
He's a super nice, fluffy
super
bear.
nice guy. His back control is redonk though.
So strong guy that comes here.
Yeah.
But he's just the very definition of an avid competitor. Like he did a wrestling
very
tournament
good.
a couple weeks ago, but he signs up for the advanced
Signs up for whatever it
division
seems like.
for it. And I'm like, why do you do that? And he goes, because that's the true test right there. That's like when you go to ADCC Opens, they don't have belt ranks.
Right.
They just say adults or male, adults minus 66 kilograms, 77 kilograms. Like they don't care what your skill level is. They're just like, you want to be the best. It's a full-on kumite. It's a blood sport thing.
It's cool of Justin too because he could easily go down the class that he's actually ranked at and smash. But
He's
the
got
fact that
skill set.
But the fact that he's also like, oh, I wrestled for 12 years and in college and is hey,
yeah,
I should probably go up one. Props to him.
Yeah.
I just thought that was cool.
But it was cool that grappling industries allows you to scale up.
Yeah.
Like now, you got to stay there. It's
if you
'cause
want to go in the black belt
because imagine if a
category,
white
you know?
belt, let's say someone new and decides, I want to wrestle or do in the black belt division. And now like I sign up and now it's okay. Now I just beat this person in 30 seconds. Like it's interesting too. I shouldn't say wasting the other person's time, but like, if they're too inexperienced, suddenly, like you're grappling with someone, it's like, I'll wrestle with the black belts. And then like, oh, like there's that
I think
infamous
they're
video.
tricking me.
There's an infamous video of Andre Galvan that he competed against some black belt who claimed he was a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And he was like doing like breakdance moves on them the entire time. Like, he was just like, whatever, like I want to, like it was this obviously a Brazilian ego, but he was sitting here just going like, whatever. And everyone's laughing to show like, why did you think you were able to compete with me?
Those are some of my favorite videos. It's like
it's
fake
insane.
black belts.
Yeah.
I cannot stop watching those. Like
The guilty pleasure.
Oh
So
man,
good.
when they go into these schools and they
You're saying the opposite. Yeah. When they're like, they say, well, no, hold on. Never mind. Keep going. I was saying a different one.
basically it's just whenever there's somebody who claims to be a black belt and they like are the owner of the school and everything, and then an actual black belt goes in there. And it's not always like dojo storming or something, like,
Yeah.
but they'll just go in and ask them a few questions and ask them to demonstrate a couple things, and it's just like, yeah, no, you're not. Like, I don't know why, but I can't stop fixing those. Those in fake martial arts. I love fake martial arts.
make
too.
it-
Oh, those are
make-
funny with the
make
energy
dojo
balls
life,
and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Yes, like
Yeah.
different. Oh man, stuff's so good.
Those are really good.
Sorry, it's off topic,
No,
but I
that's
just
on topic.
It's all on
You're the
topic.
guest, so
Yes.
literally anything that comes out of your mouth is on topic.
okay.
It's interesting because you couldn't like really go to a karate school and be like, I want to spar. Like, let's spar 100%. And let's go
Yeah.
and test you. It's, we hold back. We can't do point sparring. We can't do whatever. Like, grappling's the only one that you can Just go.
All right.
Yeah.
Like, let's
try.
do it. Let's feel
That's
it.
true.
I guess you could in karate. It's just people don't. 'Cause
Yeah.
and rightfully, a lot of schools are a lot of kids and stuff. You don't want kids getting hit in the head.
Not so much kids, but just say like lead instructors or people who are claiming they're super experienced and they have these belt ranks is testing those kind of things out. Because jiu-jitsu is one of the last sports ever you want to claim that you're a higher belt rank than you are.
Yeah, everybody's trying to sandbag.
It's like, oh no, I'm not ready. Most of the people I've met, Hunter including, that feels like they're not ready for the next belt, also have really high respect for the rank. Like they recognize that purple belt or brown belt it's nothing to take lightly because you're going to compete or going to other schools. So they're like, I don't want to jump in. Versus other people I've met who are very eager to get their rank. They have no respect for the rank because they just feel like, oh, I'm totally fine. No one's going to smash me or whatever. And they get demolished and then everyone takes it not seriously.
Well, that was interesting too because I was talking to Corey who just got promoted to blue.
Shout out to Corey.
And basically, I asked him. I think he's totally rightfully he's totally ready for blue.
He got fourth in that last tournament out of 32 people. He's legit.
But
he
I
puts
talked
it on to you too.
Yeah.
He's got a good back game.
And also, I've basically been training with him since he started, and I guess I have been. And so it's funny. It's like we know each other's games so well at this point that you can't pull anything on the other one because we know everything that we're going to do. But anyways, no, I was just talking to him about, I said, do you feel ready? How do you feel about now being blue? And he's like, I don't know. I was like, I think you're ready. But, but it just goes along with what you're saying. I say maybe that's a better way to be. Like maybe not that he's not confident, but it's just like you said, a respect for it. Like I know I put in the time, but also I still respect this rank and what it means. Yeah, no, I just thought that goes right along with it.
Yeah. On that topic, you recently got your purple belt.
Yeah, I was gonna say he got purple belt.
Yeah. So how'd that go? How'd that feel?
I feel like exact same way. Like I just feel I feel like I don't know. It's like you look at the calendar, you're like, okay, put in the time. I've competed. I just think it, depending on just a personality thing where it's like some people just always feel like I could be better or I could have done better at that tournament. Then I'll be ready. If I do this, then I'll be ready. And so
he says it because Hunter does that.
Yeah, yes, that's my personality. So really what I had to do is just remove my own judgment from it, I feel, and just trust Levi. And he's my instructor. And if he feels that I'm ready to go to that next stage, then I put faith in that. And if he feels I'm ready, then I'll trust him because, on my own, I'm just very typically hard on myself. And if you were to ask me, I could have done better. Oh, I could, maybe not quite. Maybe if I get this system learned, then I'm ready. Or if I compete one more time. Yeah, it's just sometimes I just think you just got to take yourself out of it. And like I said, I just trust Levi's judgment. And I feel good about it. Like I'm happy to be at purple, of course, and everything. But for me, it's always been something like that where I'm never like 100%, confident. I always feel like I could be more prepared or a little bit better or whatever. But either way.
Is it weird being a purple belt now? Because when you were a white belt, you'd look at a purple belt and be like, wow, they're really good at jiu-jitsu.
Well,
and now you're the guy that people look at and go, wow, he's really good at jiu-jitsu.
And not to call out Dylan, but it is pretty funny. Obviously, I started with him.
Yeah.
He's gone MIA from it. He's just busy with family and stuff like that.
Was he a blue belt when you started?
I think he was. So he was blue.
He was blue when I started.
Yeah.
Too.
Yep.
Okay.
And then he got to purple and seeing, like I was saying, I was a white. I started learning under him. He was purple. And to me, that looked like forever away. It's basically you have no idea what the journey's going to be like or where it's going to lead you. So the thought of getting to purple is who knows? And now it's just funny that now I'm the same rank as him just because he has dropped out. So it's like the guy who got me in and saying whatever. And it's just funny. I caught up to him. So that has been the weirdest part probably is, oh shit. Like,
sure.
I'm a purple now. The guy who brought me in, the guy I looked up to, trained me, is now his rank. It's weird.
It is a weird feeling. Like, you remember Mr. Danu at all? Yeah.
Yes.
So same thing, like watching him being like the man.
Yeah.
And this little tiny white belt at 13, 14 years old.
Oh, he's your karate teacher?
He's like the instructor of instructors. He was he wasn't mine personally, but he was like the head one of the area.
Oh, okay.
And then always looking up to him and then training. And then it's like, there's one day I'm like basically trying to choke him out, doing jiu-jitsu with him or being in that same realm of a training partner.
Right.
It was unreal because my brain was still that 13, 14-year-old kid looking at him.
Yes.
Going, this is unreal that I've like caught up to that versus, like you said, the visual, or at least at this point, if Dylan were to come back, there's a potential of you having like more of a head-to-head match. I just recently talked to him and basically told him, I said, hey, man, I know you're busy, but you got to come in for one class. I said, come in on one of these busier nights and just see how you stack up. I said, it'd be fun. It'd be interesting to see. He of course, is just, no, man, I'm way out of shape. I'm like, you're going to be fine.
Yeah,
like,
he'll do fine.
You'll be just fine. He comes out at 110%. Oh,
like
yeah,
every time.
yeah.
Like last time he came in and I like rolled him, I was like, just
Yeah.
kind of going nice and he just started
Oh.
jumping into like hard as he could collar ties, like
Oh,
pushing
yeah.
super hard.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Yeah.
He did good. He
Oh,
did good.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
took me by surprise on that.
For sure. He definitely is. I don't think he has to worry as much as he does. It's riding a bike. I think if he got back in here, it won't be long, and he would
Give
get
it a
back there.
month.
Right.
1 month.
Yeah, one
think-
month of consistency.
I think purple belts have a good muscle memory
You're right.
when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
You can be out for a while, but it does take me like a week to dust off, but it gets back. You don't have all the
Get your
training.
tendons used to it. That's the big thing
Yeah.
for me. Like whenever I've taken breaks, is giving your body time to acclimate to it
Oh,
too.
yeah,
Just because I find myself to be like radically injury prone.
Sure.
I just shred my joints somehow.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not even like moving that dynamic or
Yeah.
anything. It's just how I'm built.
All those years of
Happens.
bodybuilding, Matt.
I never bodybuilt.
You said you look like a goddess.
I did.
Goddess?
I got
Goddess. That was a different term.
I was
but-
very attractive.
Yes.
No, I used to lift, but I was never like bodybuilding.
Oh,
That's a
sure.
specific thing.
Gotcha.
My joints would probably feel better if I would have
Yeah.
thicker tendons and stuff.
So let's see here. Hunter,
Anyways, yes.
purple belts, training here, helps teach classes here and there. But what takes you away now from all this wonderful jiu-jitsu?
What do you mean?
What takes you away?
Are you referring
I
to?
know a specific subject. I'm trying to lead you in like Matt does lead it.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Oh, you mean the tattooing?
Tattoos.
Yeah.
I know Matt's got his whole book over there. I'm not sure if you had.
Oh, I had a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff about this.
You could lead into it as well.
Yeah. I had another thing on purple belt, but we can circle back.
I'll go.
We can circle back.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah. So I thought it was really interesting when I found out that you were like, yeah, I like submitted my work to an artist here in the area and I'm trying to get picked up at an apprenticeship. So when did you decide that you wanted to be a craftsman like that?
Probably, it's probably longer than I think now. It was probably 4 years ago is when I really started, because it always seemed, I always enjoyed being in the shop. I always enjoyed getting tattooed as soon as I was 18, but it seemed like something that I could never achieve. It seemed like I have no idea how to get into this industry. I don't know if I'm cut out for it. All types of things. Like basically, like when you start out as a white belt and you look, these guys are like magicians. I don't know the first thing about it really. But then I just made the decision where I was like, you know what? I got to try. At the very least, I know I have some artistic ability. Let me put more focus into that. And so that's what I did about 4 years ago is I just started small. Any free time I had, I was putting it back into my drawing and learning about the craft and just putting more focus into it until I got to a point where I was like, okay, I've put together a decent portfolio of some artwork and drawings and things like that. And just took that next step. I got turned down shops, so it wasn't easy. That wasn't fun, but I was just determined. I was like, this is it for me. This is what I want to do. I just know it. So I just kept at it, and then I was fortunate enough to get picked up and things lined up, and yeah, I absolutely love it, and I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
That's awesome.
When did you see yourself being artistic, like when you were younger, or is this
Yeah, I always was into drawings and stuff like that, or into drawing and just creating, really. I would make furniture, I would carve rocks, or I would do wood burning.
Sure.
Like I just always was into like creating stuff with my
Creational.
hands and whatnot, and whatever it might be. Funny too, like when I was a kid, my dad has some artistic ability too, and so I would make him draw me a picture every night that I could wake up to as a kid.
Go, Dad, go.
Yeah, it was funny.
Awesome.
So like
That's super cute.
yeah, so like whenever I'd go to sleep, I would always like have some cool like Reaper or something that he would draw, and I'd
Oh.
wake up to that, whatever. And I
That's
thought that was the
cool.
coolest thing ever. I actually got in trouble too when I was in like kindergarten. They thought I was like, I don't know, I got put on a list or something because I was drawing stuff in kindergarten that like you
Oh.
should not be drawing. Like not X-rated, but just like dark stuff, like
Sure, okay.
Reapers and devils
That's what my dad
and like
draws.
flames and whatnot. So like when they see like a young kid drawing that, they're like, is he okay? But yeah, so that was funny. So yeah, I've always been drawing, always been into creating and whatever. But
That's cool.
yeah, I just never thought it never occurred to me that, hey, maybe I could do that because it just seems so out of my reach. You know what
It
I
does seem
mean?
a jump, right? Because you're going from, drawing on paper to literally putting it on somebody's body
For
for the rest
sure.
of their days.
For
you
sure.
know, like-
Yeah. And like I said, I don't have a family member that's in the industry. I
Sure.
didn't know what I was necessarily getting into or how to get into it. So it just was step by step. And like I said, just this disgusting determination of, I don't care. Like I'm finding a way to make this happen.
So was it spurred on from you deciding one day you wanted to get a tattoo, and then you saw that experience, and you're like, "This is what I want to do."
I think that definitely played a role. I immediately realized I like being in the shop. I just like the environment. No matter, I've gotten tattooed several places, and I just drawn to that environment. Loved, like anytime I had an appointment set up, it was like my favorite day. I just loved it. Loved the process of getting tattooed, everything about it. And yeah, I just thought, God, I have so much respect for what these guys do. I think it's the coolest thing. And basically, like I said, I never thought that I could be one of those guys because it just seemed so out of reach. Similar to like I was saying, training, right? You just
Right.
see your master, and that's not even a real person.
Yeah.
That's a magician. But yeah, then I was like, you know what? Maybe I can. Maybe I gotta at least try.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was fortunate enough and just lucky that things worked out the way they did. And
That's
yeah,
awesome. You
so-
kept pushing too.
Yeah.
That you were like, I need to do this. And
Yeah.
then it is a craftsman role, is what it is. If you think about
100%,
it, if you were
yeah.
making tables, it'd be the same thing as, oh, you build these awesome tables and you want to showcase it. And there's a beauty to the fact that it isn't scalable.
Right.
I think there's a kind of a neatness to that where a lot of businesses are like, it's got to be
Yep.
scalable. But on the other end, maybe it doesn't. And I think that's cool. And you put yourself out there, you tried, you got rejected,
Yep.
but you didn't let that stop you.
It did for a day for sure. That was tough. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. It was because it is personal. Like it's like
100%,
I
yeah.
created something, and you're
No.
vulnerable to somebody and with their
Mm.
opinions. And if they just shoot it down, you're just like, ooh.
It's almost like that doubt's lingering in the back, waiting for somebody to give it some food so
Exactly.
it can come out.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially like I said, just being so like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to get into this. So it was tough, like just starting out, but yeah, it worked out. So
Well, both men, I have tattoos. I got
Mhm.
one big one on my calf, but you've got 5, 6, 5,
Mm,
5.
I don't know. I don't
The
know
lower back
how you
one.
count this whole thing that's up and around me, though.
that's the funny part, right? Counting tattoos is so hard. It's
Yeah.
do you count it by session? Do you count it by do you break the body up in chunks?
Yeah. I've got
It's
5.
I
You
said
could
it.
probably
Woohoo.
say.
but somebody else could get quarter-sized pieces and get 30 of them, and it's not as many, is not much coverage as you. So
Yeah.
it's always weird to me. It's like
Okay.
Hours, session, you know.
right. Like I
At
don't
some
know
point,
how-
too, you just lose track because
How
Oh,
much,
yeah.
things
how
start
much
to meld
skin
in.
percentage left?
Yeah.
I think that's a more accurate
way.
way to go by it. Honestly, it's like how much coverage do you have?
Yeah,
Like,
I can see
percentage.
that. Huh.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So how does that start out? When you're submitting, do you have to submit just artwork, or if you've done like small pieces for friends, kind
So-
of on the side or something like that?
it's not like a requirement to have done basically what they call that scratching, which is where you're tattooing outside of a professional establishment.
Ooh,
And
it's
it's-
an interesting name.
It's frowned
Scratch.
upon. Yeah, it's like,
Scratch. It
like
makes sense.
It's almost like in the industry, it's like a derogatory sort of thing,
Well,
like a
you're-
scratcher.
Because it
It's
does
like,
bring down the
yeah.
professionalism of the
Well, right.
establishment.
And
kinda
plus going through the apprenticeship, because there's some people that kind of bypass that, and I'm not here
Okay.
to judge either way, but like I just know that some people look at it like it's like you're skipping a step.
Okay.
You know, that he should have gone through that struggle. You should have
Mhm.
done it this way. And some people do go around that. Now, I'm not saying those people can't end up being great artists, blah, 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 whatever. I'm in no position I'm so new to the industry still that I'm not in a position to judge. But just basically, yeah. So getting into it, they don't necessarily want you to be tattooing outside of a shop because it's illegal. But also,
I didn't know that. Okay.
yeah, you got to be
Makes
licensed.
sense.
You got to be
Yeah.
licensed, and
Okay.
doing it out of a basement isn't the most
Well,
sanitary
you-
thing.
you're
but-
saying, but
Yeah.
that's what you always keep
That makes
pushing on
sense.
the sanitation stuff.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
makes total sense. What do you think about it? You're like,
Yeah, I
"Oh."
take it very seriously.
Yeah.
In fact, let's say I got a mom and daughter, and they're both getting the same exact tattoo, whatever. They come in together. It's like they're family, and one would think it's not that big a deal. If cross contamination here, they're related, they're immediate family and whatever. But it's no. It's if I tattoo the one and the other one's their turn, like I'd tear everything down. You
Good.
sanitize everything. Everything gets done as if like any other day, and then you set up everything fresh, clean. It's all in disposables. It's all sealed, whatever, and yeah, so I take it very seriously because the last thing I want is anything like that to occur. I would have a hard time if somebody got an infection or something like that. So
Right.
that would really bother me. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know where I left off. I was saying, I think basically the process of getting into it. I
Oh,
mean,
yes, yeah.
you don't need to have tattooed outside of it. In fact, like I said, a lot of time, like once I knew I was going to get the apprenticeship, the owner basically let me know, okay, man, because I was doing a couple outside of it and mostly on myself. And the only reason I did that was I was just trying to build up a portfolio of that too. Like I just
Mhm.
wanted to show, hey, like I've had a machine in my hand, like I've tattooed myself, blah blah blah,
Yeah,
whatever.
you said you had a fake arm in your trunk at one point.
Yeah, I did.
Like,
I do.
Like fake
yeah.
body parts
Oh
just
yeah,
laying around.
yeah. I had all types of the fake skin things, and there's one that was like a guinea pig and whatnot. But yeah, so pretty much once it was clear that I was going to be starting my apprenticeship with him, he was like, hey, no more tattooing like until you're in here. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, no problem. I don't want to be tattooing outside of the shop anyways. I really
Mhm.
only was doing it to just get a couple.
To get it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look
that
at
I
my
could
guinea pigs. Look at my guinea
yeah,
pigs.
look at the fake skin, please. Yeah, no, like just so you knew I was very serious. Dude, I'll carve up my whole leg like to get in. Whatever you need me to do. Like it's yeah, whatever. But yeah, no, it just really is you put together as clean a portfolio as you can, nice laminated sheets and something that you can flip through and whatever, and that's really the best way to go about it. And you walk in and you just have to try it out at different places and see how it works out.
So
So
when you're developing yourself, is it people helping with like your raw artistic ability, and then a second end of like your inking or your actual
yeah,
process? Like,
I would
is
Oh,
that two
and the
separate?
third, your business,
And
the
then
business side of
doing
it
the
too.
business side, yeah. So I guess there's multiple avenues of being successful.
yeah, there's a lot that goes into it because at the end of the day, we all kind of work for ourselves. We all might work in the same building, but really we're in charge of everything ourselves. We're just independent contractors. So, yeah, from marketing yourself to customer service to promoting yourself, all that stuff like your art abilities and it's an individual thing. But yeah, most of the training in my apprenticeship here has been focused towards the actual like medium itself, like applying ink to skin, because it's a different story than like Matt was saying, drawing on paper.
Mhm.
And then different things like we talked about sanitation. How do you set up? How do you tear down? What's the proper way to do this? How do you wrap your machine? Like these things, just I don't know, it's more that stuff than it is like here's how it's past that point of like how you're gonna do the art necessarily, but it's more like learning the limitations of the skin or this technique
Sure.
on the skin to get that. So yeah, it's just more focused on the actual, like I said, setup, tear down, all that stuff.
Cool.
Do you expand like your own artistic ability outside of there too? Do you look at books like the guy that I worked with? Like he was really big into architecture, and he had big books about it of reading how things were made and things like that. Like I'm not sure if do you have anything externally, or do you just like you doodle a bit and keep playing with it?
So, I mean, I definitely take inspiration from different things that I see. I think the game has changed now just with the internet. Like, I'm
Yeah.
constantly like, your algorithm might just flood you with stuff you look at. So it's if I'm looking at cool tattoos or, oh,
How
look
to
at this.
draw an eye.
Yeah, like you click on something like, oh, that's really cool, like painting or whatever. You click on it, now you get more of that. So I think I definitely get inspiration from different things that just naturally float through my social media and stuff like that. But as far as, yeah, otherwise, it's mainly for me. I'm not like a big painter. I've done it, but I prefer to just draw and things like that. So yeah, I don't know.
I know there's styles of tattoo artists as well, right? Like
Yeah,
so
yeah.
what would you have a style that you consider yourself?
I don't think I could yet.
You're still developing your
Still
game.
a leg locker.
Exactly.
Dirty leg locker.
Exactly. So I think that at this point to it would be cocky to be like, yeah, I'm like on black and gray realism.
Oh,
That's
sure.
all I do or whatever. I really just want to be well rounded. Everybody in the shop that I work with does their best to be well rounded so that
Sure.
we can basically serve as many people as possible and not be but at the same time, like I understand certain artists being like, hey, this is what I like to do. I'm the best at doing this. This is what I do. And if they can fill their calendar up, great.
Sounds like jiu-jitsu right there.
Yeah, I was gonna
Right,
say
right.
something. I was actually curious to jump back a couple topics.
Yeah.
As much as I really do learning about your tattoo journey too. That's really cool.
Thanks.
So you brought up a unique view you had that started happening. It was a bummer when it happened in football, and you were talking about some of how your game is in jujitsu due to the fact that like most of the room is usually going to weigh more, right?
Yep.
And for people who are listening who are in a similar boat, and most people, unless they're giant, are going to run into a scenario where someone is the bigger opponent. What tips and tricks and like ways to think and whatnot have helped you navigate that? Because you submit guys who are bigger than you all the time. So what has helped there, and what could help other people?
Okay. Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think it's basically finding what you do best and just trying to maximize that. And then for me personally, against a larger opponent, somebody who's stronger, whatever, I think most times try to outmaneuver them, really.
Mm.
It's basically a game of I make a mental note of here's their attributes and they exceed me in these things. But where do I exceed their attributes? And let me try to maximize that. So if it's he's bigger, stronger, but he's slower, or if I tire him out for 2 minutes, suddenly that strength goes away. So now you just have to try to use what you have. And that's really, I was thinking about creativity and kind of what is it. And I think it's interesting because creativity can be forced, right?
Yeah.
If I handed you an apple, a paper clip, and a sheet of paper and asked you to make whatever, like you would do your best, and you would technically you'd have to be creative, right? Because you're limited by what you're supplied.
Especially if you had to solve a problem with
Right.
those 3 items.
But versus the other way, where it's like if I just gave you open canvas and just said do whatever you want, then you can be creative, but from no limits, right? And I think that it's interesting where it's thought about that, and I thought, because I've done that before too. If I'm drawing or something and I'm like trying to come up with like just something, like maybe I'm having like a creative block or whatever, I'll just take 3 elements and I'm like, let me see what I can do with this, and then let my creativity work with it, and then come up with something kind of new. And so I think the same applies to jiu-jitsu, because you might be forced to be creative. So if you're limited by your attributes, such as, man, I'd like to do a body triangle, but my legs are too small, so I can't do that. Suddenly you go to something else. And so you have different ways that you can be creative, sometimes forced. I don't know. It's just something I was thinking about.
I've actually noticed the exact same thing about constraint-based creativity.
Yeah.
When I was younger with Legos, if I had just like my whole bin, sometimes I'd make cool stuff, sometimes I wouldn't. Sometimes it'd just be trash because I had like so many Legos. But then this weird thing happened where I would have just a small amount if we're traveling or something, or just for some reason those were the ones I had in front of me. Sometimes I'd make really cool stuff.
Right.
And I noticed that as a young child, that I was like, for some reason, when the constraint's in place, I come up with some kind of cool ideas.
Yeah, that's exactly my.
It doesn't mean it's the only way.
Yeah.
It's just a way. And
Yeah.
they say necessity is the mother of all invention.
Yeah, no,
You know?
that's spot on. I think, just to draw it back to jiu-jitsu, I think that applies the same. Smaller guys, use what you have to your advantage, and basically just try to maximize that, is what I would say. Like I said, a lot of times for me, that's just movement. It's just outmaneuvering, being slick. If you're smaller, sometimes you
You
can
heard it here, folks. Grease up.
That's
Grease up
right.
before.
That's right. That's what I'm getting at.
I've seen most of my purple or brown experience with people who weigh like less than 160, I would say. They're the most sneaky, most creative people. Like I had Salmon the other night. So insanely creative by the way he moves and solves situations.
Right.
But like he says, you're forced to. Versus I think anybody who weighs, let's say, above 200 doesn't meet that problem too often. It's like you can sit and smash through something like, oh, coach showed this like fancy guard path. Whatever. Like I could just smash through this and I'm okay. So you get used to going speed or fast versus having not those same attributes, or maybe let's say strength or speed or something. Like you're forced to be creative if you want to keep doing it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I was thinking about too, maybe that doesn't mean necessarily be creative, like you got to invent new moves or something. Like the stuff is there, but like creative in the moment of, okay, maybe you wouldn't have thought to do this move, or maybe you've modified the move a little bit, or maybe it just works better for you, so that's why you do it.
Or a refinement.
Yeah.
Oh, here's this move, and so if I refine an open guard a little bit more, also suddenly it's opening up. I could see that.
Yeah, for sure.
What about when you're versing someone who's dramatically larger? Is there anything that you go, no matter what, I'm not going to do that?
Yeah.
Any spots that you're like, this is a bad idea.
Basically, if we're gonna start standing, I'm not taking them down.
Okay.
I used to do that, but as I got later in my journey here, I got a little lazier probably, just because it's like, just is what it is. I don't know. But it's like, I don't try to take those people down if I can avoid it. I'll let them do the wrestling. I really don't care if you take me down, because I'm more comfortable off my back anyways. So that's where I have more weapons and submissions. So really, to me, it doesn't matter. And a lot of times they're so strong that even if I did take them down, got in a side control or something, they just bench press you. Like
that's a good point.
It's basically you give it up anyways. And I just, for safety, like I don't need some big 300-pound guy like sprawling on me.
True.
Or I shoot in and I get snatched up with a guillotine and he's putting me to the ceiling, that type of thing. So I guess right off the bat, I notice I do that now. I just
Pull out
avoid
guard.
Yeah. And it's not even so much pulling. Like, I'll basically just give a takedown, right? Give a single, they pull the leg up and I just fall. Okay, now we're on the ground. Like, I'm just that's something I do.
Point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I noticed wrestling last week with Ben.
Yes.
Ben's a bigger guy than me, and I tried to run the pipe on him.
Yeah.
And I could get it because we were just being cool about it back and forth. It was like, it took so much effort to try to run the pipe on him.
He's got a little bit of experience too.
Yeah, sturdy dude.
Yeah. If your leg weighs as much as me, like I'm not trying to take you down. It's gonna be
smart.
rough.
So where would you like to finish on somebody then? that big, like Matt was saying.
Like, I probably would be looking for something that I can control based off of what submission has a big advantage. So, for example, anybody can rear naked choke somebody.
Hmm.
Like, even take like a child, basically, with the proper technique. You don't need that much strength, right, to actually to apply a choke like that. So I would say look for the submissions that are like that have that big advantage like that, where it's okay, this isn't going to require a ton of strength, or if it's something where it's I'm using my whole body on this one joint. I know a lot of things are like that, but I don't know if that makes sense. Like where you can find where it's I'm using my whole like an arm bar.
Mhm.
Like I get to an arm bar position from the bottom, and it's I'm completely wrapped around just their arm. Okay, so now I took this 300-pound super strong dude and just reduced him to one arm, and I'm strong enough to take out an arm. So rather than trying to just one versus one, like where it's and I just know that you can, or whatever it might be, Americana or something, where it's just you can just do one of these and basically just outmuscle it. And so I don't know, wherever there's like a large gap between like how much strength it takes to finish the move versus the like the joint lock or whatever that you're doing. Chokes are good, obviously, too, but you got to limit those because you throw up a triangle on a guy and he postures up and he's, like I said, a lot bigger than you. If we were in the street, he's going to stand up and he's going to slam me on my head. He just is. I don't know. You just got to pick and choose like that. It's what I try to do.
I think that's some good wisdom there. That's legit.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It can be a tough night no matter what. But
when I was rolling Sam the other night, he told me he weighs like 110.
Yeah.
And I'm like 185 right now. And he was putting on a triangle. I had a hard time posturing up.
Yeah.
It's a 7-pound difference. Like I felt him like climb my neck, like almost ratchet me down. It was a weird feeling. It wasn't like a pull. It was like he ratcheted my neck down.
Sam, if you're listening, you should start coming here more often. We gotta learn about this.
It was insane. It was insane though. But it was like I was fighting, but he kept breaking my posture more, and I'm like, oh, I am screwed right now. This is bad. So it was just creativity on my end as well, like you were saying. But it's all technique on that end too. So just like you're saying, like you're refined. I get in this position a lot. So instead of relying on attributes, you're like, I gotta be more technical.
Yeah, and that's probably something that like I could definitely work on. So yeah, don't take everything I say with a grain of salt. Like I'm not by any means I'm just got to purple here. So it's whatever. My expertise only goes so far.
On that note, I've seen a rare phenomenon when it comes to belt ranks that usually once people step into the new color, it takes about 2 or 3 months and then they like feel like they can fill those shoes.
Yeah.
I see that all the time. Just like someone's purple, oh, I'm not ready. They get a purple belt and they're like, oh, they're fine. And also like, oh, I'm a purple belt.
Yeah.
Like you can
wonder if it's the pressure of the room that pushes you up.
It might be too, but just like you're like mentally allowed to be that belt. I think it'd be more prevalent if we had belts all the time.
Yeah.
Like wearing them and you're like, I'm purple, and you're always introducing yourself non-verbally as having that purple belt, and they can have this expectation of it. But usually I saw it with myself. It's like brown and all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, I feel like I can let loose a little bit more because I'm this more experienced person. So it helped.
That makes sense for sure.
But
I like it. Yeah. We've actually talked about a lot of the different things that I was going to dive into. Actually, here's another one. So what are some decisions that really opened up your game through your jiu-jitsu journey?
Some decisions that opened up my game.
And that could be decisions about your training philosophy. That could be decisions about your specific game itself, decisions to pick specific techniques over others.
Yeah. I think mindset for certain things was one thing. Like once I started realizing, hey, I'm pretty good at this guard retention thing. Like I can usually use that to my advantage. There became sometimes it just mentally, I would make the decision like, okay, I'm going to do everything I can to not let them pass my guard. So it was like just a challenge for myself internally. It wasn't like I was walking around like, nobody can pass my guard or whatever, but it was just like internally, it's okay. If I want to maintain this and keep good at this, then every time I'm in this situation, like I want to do everything I can to not let them pass my guard so I can keep that skill sharp. So I guess mindset for that. Otherwise,
I remember you talking about that actually. You were teaching a guard retention class.
Yeah.
And I remember it never even occurred to me. I was like, what a great idea to have.
Yeah.
Hey, part of this is like technique. And part of it's just like straight up like stubbornness.
Yeah.
You're not passing my guard. Because we get used to conceding positions.
Yes.
So it's just, no,
yes.
This will not. If it happens, it's going to be me kicking and screaming the whole way there.
Right. Yeah. And it's not necessarily an ego thing, like I was saying, but it's just like realizing something that, hey, I'm naturally pretty good at this. In order to maintain that, I want to like mentally not give up that position every time, because then pretty soon it becomes habit, and then you're just comfortable with that.
Catch myself doing it sometimes.
Yeah. So I guess that'd be one thing, is just like mindset sometimes. Otherwise, I think just always being a student. Like, I'll learn stuff from people at all different ranks. I don't care. Like, it's not about, people do things differently and have different bodies and different styles. And you might always just learning, I think, is just another thing I try to do, is I try to just remain a student of it, not let ego get involved, and really just take the art for what it is and just absorb as much as I can, and never think I'm too good to learn from somebody else. And yeah, so I think those are two main things probably.
Those are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I think it's cool because I'm sure when we especially train in NoGi, the white belt or the blue belt rank around somebody doesn't get in the way of your ego of asking.
Right.
It's like someone's feeling some good pressure or escape. You're like, ooh, what was that? Cool. Now, like, I'm this purple belt. Like, I should not be asking this white belt, what's this cool technique you're doing?
Oh, yeah. And it's tough. Like, I totally get, because it's like somebody in anything really, you put a lot of work into something, whatever. I can see how egos can get inflated and get involved. Like, I totally get it. But yeah, I really just do my best to not let that get in the way. And I don't know. I think this is the environment that we're a team. We're learning from each other. We're not in competition. We like to have good roles and definitely get after it, be competitive, but it's all in good fun.
I think there's a great crossover here between this and your tattooing, that when you have an environment of people that all just want to get better at their craft, you're all wanting to be collaborative and help each other. You're not sitting here going, well, you've been doing this for 2 years and I've been doing this for 15 years. Like, how dare I ask you questions? You just want to get better.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm 15 years. I should not be asking this kind of stuff, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
So,
It's almost like the mat is its own machine, where you have your skill and then there's the skill of the machine.
Yeah.
And we all are trying to build a better machine because it also is a proxy for our own skill.
Right.
I guess that's why I like calling this place a studio. Because a studio is, here's this environment. Let's say, for example, we all have blank canvases in front of us, and we all have the same tools and the same paint, and we're all sitting here trying to like master this thing. So we're all walking around looking at each other's pieces of art, or I'm looking at a lot more sculpting lately, and so you're seeing the techniques, you're seeing all these things. But yeah, because initially I wanted to call it canvas jiu-jitsu, was one of my ideas I was thinking of. It was something like that. I was just like, wanted to be like this open artistic spot where people can just be and express themselves. But yeah, I think the theory works too.
It feels like I say like in theory or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it comes up in conversation here a lot, like unironically, and so I think I'm like, okay, this works. This makes sense.
I like it because I think that's theory is where things start.
Yeah,
I know people are like, you need like application of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, guess what? Application doesn't happen at all if you're not sitting here theorizing something,
right?
And trying like a thought process, and then use the mats as your lab.
Yeah, it's
Right
yes
on.
and, not
Yes.
or.
So let's see if that works.
Right
But
on.
it's the mindset that I'm trying to push on versus something a little more restrictive. But
I think we're running up on our time here,
oh
though.
my gosh,
So,
I went fast.
Do we have our closing thoughts, Matt?
yeah.
Do we
No, this has been really great. Thank you, Hunter.
Yeah,
This
thanks
has
for
been
having
good. This was a cool journey through why Gladiator is a good movie.
That's really the main takeaway
Yeah.
here. Is just,
Everyone should go watch Gladiator.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you haven't watched Gladiator and you're listening to this, please, after listening to this and giving us a 5-star review,
That's right.
make sure to watch Gladiator. The other thing is, it's been really cool. Your story of going through getting to purple belt, and actually your story of becoming a tattoo artist, have a lot of similarities in them. There's a parallel to them, and I think
can
that's
see
really
that.
cool.
maybe
of
more
not
than I
giving up.
realized. Honestly,
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you think about every time you brought your art in and it didn't work, you got tapped hard.
Yeah,
And then instead of giving
Losing
up,
a
what you did is
competition,
you
yeah.
looked at it again. And then you got back after it, right? The taps are part of life.
Yep.
And so you just took your taps and kept moving forward.
Right on. Yeah.
And now you're dishing out some. And so that's
Doing
pretty
my
cool.
best.
And no, I really like the fact that you brought up the whole mindset
Yeah.
thing too, right? Because that is something I think that's easy to sleep on.
Yeah.
Where you go, okay, yeah, I just got to have this perfect technique. And it's, you know what? There's guys like you. Mindset's something, right?
Mhm.
Like the person who has the will to win or achieve their task, like there's something to that.
Mhm.
And when you don't have it, you notice a stark difference in your game.
Oh, right. Think
You know?
not to get too off topic, but think about somebody in the UFC. They have this super good, super high defense or takedown defense, right? they're known for it. So now every time they go into a match, there's a part of them that's I ain't getting taken down.
Yeah, true.
Because they don't want to ruin that.
There's that reputation comes into mind.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
this is who I am. This is what I do.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. So yeah, you want to keep that part, but
Makes me wonder why Damian Maya never threw a ton of high kicks. Because no one would take him
true.
down. Just let him
Yeah.
because if they took him down, it would go right into his game.
I've always been a
Exactly.
fan of that, like having something in your game that you're like a boogeyman with.
yeah,
Because
Yep.
people get. It's funny enough. Sam was telling me last night. A lot of people know you because you go for people's A games. Like you go for things that people go, I'm really good at, and I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Because I think let's say for arm triangles, for example, for me, like if I'm hunting arm triangles on Levi, it's cool because it's do something that this other person's really good at and do it to them.
Yeah.
It's like why bother do it? Because they're like you get past like the allure, the facade.
Mhm.
Like, oh, this is what you're good at. So I do the same thing with Hunter because
Oh,
Hunter's got
all
good
the time.
guard
So
retention.
you guys are just retaining guard at each other.
But I'm not saying like stopping him, but like he has this great thing, and my job is let's see if I can stop it.
Mm.
So if someone has a really good triangle choke, I'm like, I'll be the one that you can't tap with. To lean into their A game and stay in there
Yeah.
versus, you know what? Instead of guard retention, I'm going to pull guard on
Pokemon
Hunter.
you'd be?
What's that? That's what Sam told me last night.
That's awesome.
He's like, you're like a ditto. I like more like Kakashi with like the copy ninja.
Ah,
It's
yep,
a little
there
bit
you
cooler.
go. That's
but
cool.
The
That's
ditto,
cool.
I'm okay
Be
with
the
that
king
too.
cobra that eats other
But just
snakes.
like leaning into person strength versus sitting back. So on that note, you gotta add, you don't have it? Do you have it ready?
What? Oh, we're gonna ask that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here.
I guess we should. We've asked it of every
Yeah,
single guest we've come
yeah,
in here.
it's
You
true.
ask it.
Hold on, we had it modified slightly, didn't we? What did you say?
Just shoot from the hip.
Okay.
Go for it.
So, what would be your grappling spirit animal? I say animal because Matt one time, what was
I
it?
picked
An element.
I was like, water.
Water.
I couldn't think of an
That's
animal.
lame.
My grappling spirit animal.
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna go with what I said earlier. I think it's probably just the spider monkey.
Spider monkey.
I like that, and
cool.
I don't know. I feel like just maybe I've gotten less dynamic as the years have gone on.
Oh, please.
but I still like to think that that would be a pretty good description of my game.
From someone who's rolls you often, you definitely have an amorphous shape when you're rolling.
Maybe an octopus or something. Actually, now that I
Ooh,
think
that'd be a
about
good
it,
one. That'd be
I
a
think
good
that
one.
seems more apt because it's like you're not too spazzy,
yeah,
but you're just like, yeah.
squeezing
I like-
in and out.
I like
Yeah,
how an
yeah,
octopus
They
might-
can fit through a water
Well,
bottle.
because if I grab you, suddenly it feels like you're like you're just
Yep.
poking out.
Make
of
my
something.
make my
hard to hold
legs into
on to.
arms.
You're hard to hold down. Like
Sure.
you,
Yeah.
you change your shape a
That's a
lot.
good
All
one.
right,
That's a good
octopus
one.
it is.
The octopus. That's a cool spirit animal.
See,
cool.
now we say that because now he'd be a really cool tattoo if you had like a.
I've always thought
an
octopuses would be a
somewhere.
dope tattoo.
I definitely do have an
Do you not
octopus
nearly get
tattoo
on your-
already.
You do?
do?
I thought
Well,
on
it's-
somebody's shoulder
It's
would look
technically a
cool.
kraken, but there's tentacles all down this arm. So
Let me
like,
see.
oh yeah, like it's
Oh, look at that.
yeah, it's all
dude.
it's all
that shit. Oh,
and
look at that.
it's all,
That is
that's
your
how my
shoulder.
arm
Well,
is.
really?
Have you guys not seen me before?
You don't
You're
go
always
like
wearing shirts,
yeah,
dude.
shirts. Yeah.
This is funny. This is
Let's guess
describing
others.
exactly what I.
It's funny because not that long ago,
Like a nautical themed sleeve on my right arm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
exactly.
I was telling Hunter that I wanted a bee tattoo.
A
I
bee,
wanted
a
like
bumblebee
the honeycombs.
with the warbler.
Honeycombs are like a bee, like the actual bees, because I just always fascinated with bees. And then Hunter's like, dude, I have.
Like you mean like this?
Like
and I
this
just
guy?
tell him like,
The
sure.
man with every tattoo.
It is getting
What
pretty
the
bad.
heck?
Yeah, it's to the point where it's don't tell me your
Well,
ideas because
I'm not sure if this was Matt that said it the other day, but it was about righty or lefty.
Oh yeah, I was gonna
Right?
ask you.
So why don't you ask him? So show Matt your left sleeve, your left arm.
oh
Look,
yeah, like how naked
there's
it is,
nothing there.
it's funny. Wait, are you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm
So-
right-handed.
Okay,
So-
that answers my question. On the podcast the other day, I was joking around. I was like, well, if you're right-handed, does that mean you tattoo on your left arm and left leg all the time
Yeah.
because you can reach it? And then your right arm, you have someone else do, or it just looks like crap because you're using your left hand.
Oh yeah, no. Typically, I mean, for me at least, it was just my right thigh. So like everything was
Gotcha.
like my right thigh because it was just is most accessible. I think if you have a right-handed person, most of the time it's gonna be like their thigh, like their upper leg,
Ah,
something
okay.
like that. But
But-
you will get people that will then tattoo their left arm or
Well,
something.
it's funny because
Okay.
I actually told Jill Hunter's response today too, and she thought it was pretty cool. So why do you have your left arm blank?
Oh, it's for my unborn kids.
Yeah, that's
cool?
cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it's
Planning
just,
some real estate for him.
it just naturally has been family stuff, like my immediate family and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm saving room over
Yes,
there.
with that.
Yeah, yep.
No, that's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah, because there's gonna be more things to add for sure. Like with when I eventually have my own family, so
That's
it's just
pretty-
saving it for them.
Nice.
So Hunter, to hand it,
octopus,
where can
the
people
kraken.
find you and look at your beautiful art?
Oh man, most everything I put out there is on Facebook. I
Hunter
know a
Boe
lot
on
of people.
Facebook.
What's that?
Is it under your name, Hunter Boe?
Yeah,
Or is
so-
it under some other thing?
Nope, it's Hunter Boe on Facebook. That's BOE. And you'll know it's me because my profile picture is me tattooing and I'm wearing a pretty noticeable shirt. It's a very colorful shirt. So it stands out. And I try to do that on purpose. My cards have the same photo. I just try to brand myself
And where
that
do you
way.
do your work out of?
I'm at Nina Electric Tattoo
Good
in
place.
Nina. Yeah, yep. So
Excellent.
that's where you can find me. I'm there 6 days a week and Monday through Saturday.
Is that
And
where you're
if
going
you-
tonight?
Nope, not today. Except for I took off for this podcast, and put the
we're
put
so
the
cool.
Yep. And of course, the holidays here took a couple days here. I'm gonna visit grandparents and
You
things
should
like
get
that.
tattooed while on the podcast.
I know.
Hunter,
I did not even think about the sanitation stuff. I was like, it'd be so cool if Hunter got a setup on this table and people came here like one day and got something done or something. I
Right.
don't know. It was like really brainstorming. I'm like, oh, that's right, sanitation stuff. But if anyone wants to roll Hunter, you can come to Theory Jiu-Jitsu.
Absolutely,
in Appleton,
yeah.
Wisconsin. If you want to roll him, make sure you come 15 minutes late. to
That's when I'll be
class.
here.
That's when he'll show up.
I'm trying to be
'Cause
consistently late, and
He's doing good with his purple belt.
yeah, that's right.
No, but he's so fantastic here. He's such a great fit to the personnel or the community here. And he teaches a couple classes too. Amazing instructor as well. So we're happy to have him. Yeah, and then
Where
Matt,
can I find us?
the grapplingpodcast.com
Yeah.
or
And we're gonna start doing stuff on Also, you can find us on Xbox
Xbox
Live,
Live.
Grapple Pod.
Nice.
Yeah,
We need,
Xbox Live
a
handle.
UFC one that we can do.
Yeah, if one of these days we're gonna do that.
Well, we could
Hunter,
probably-
you should join for that.
We could probably get it on the TV
over
here.
there. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
We can bring it in and then we can
Like
like
the cast to it.
cast it or whatever. We can video record and things like that. But
All right.
yeah, we're thinking about doing some roundtable discussions too. So we might have Hunter on another time too. We can just talk about things as well.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Sweet. Awesome. We will see you guys later.
Bye.